students and all my viewers, welcome to Shikshanacha Miti channel. This is Sapna CHAVHAN here and I am focusing here on the chemistry topics of subject science from standard 8th, from 8th standard of the CBSE pattern. In last video, we learnt about metals and non-metals. So in our subject, the subject is chemistry and the topic name is metals and non-metals. Subject chemistry and topic is metals and non-metals. In this video, we are going to learn about the properties of metals and non-metals. Properties of metal and non-metal. Before going to the properties of metals and non-metals, I want to revise the last video. In last video, we saw about the elements. Which elements? Metals, non-metals and metalloids. What are the metals? Iron, gold, silver, copper, aluminium are all the metals. Non-metals, which are non-metals? Sulfur, phosphorus are all the non-metals. What are the metalloids? Silicon, germanium, antimony, those are all the metalloids. In the term of electron, what we can call the metals? The negatively charged elements. Those are the metals. Metal positively charged. Positively charged. Those are the metals. Those gives electron to the other. Those are the metals. In case of the non-metal, we can say that the receiving of electron and formation of negative charge on it, that is the non-metals. And what about the metalloids? The metalloids are having 4 valence electrons in it. And what about the noble gases? Noble gases have about 8 valence electron in their last state. They are present mainly in the form of gases. Then the metals and non-metals and metalloids are occurred from what? Those occur from the earth crust. Those occurrence of metal, non-metals and metalloids from the ores. And those ores are consist of much of the impurities, like we can call as gangue. Silver, platinum, gold, those are the metal. Those having the ores with their impurities also. This gold, silver, platinum are very less reactive metals, as you know. What about the sodium, chlorine? Those are also the metal, but those metals are so much reactive. Those are also obtained in the form of ores. Also, some metals like aluminium, copper, we can extract from the rocks. And extraction of the pure metal from the ores, that the process is called as the metallurgy. What it called? Metallurgy. The process is called metallurgy, the extraction of the pure metal. After that, what we saw? The occurrence of the non-metals and metalloids. Like hydrogen present in the atmosphere in a very much content. After that, oxygen, this is also present in the atmosphere in combined state and in combined state. After that, nitrogen Nitrogen is also freely present in the atmosphere. After that, we saw about the silicon, sulfur, phosphorus, and noble gases. And you all know the noble gases are the elementary gases which are present in the form of gases. So after that, now we will go to the properties of metals and non-metals. We will see first the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Physical properties of metals and non-metals. Physical properties. The physical properties are first physical state, then hardness and strength. Third one is luster. Fourth one is malleability and ductility. After that, fifth one is conductivity. After that, sixth one is melting point and boiling point. Those are the qualities. Those are the physical properties of metals and non-metals. One by one we will see in details. So first we see the physical state. Physical state about the metals. Physically, metals are solid in state, but the exception is mercury. The mercury is liquid in state. What about the non-metals? Some non-metals are solids, that is the copper, sorry student, not copper, that is the carbon and sulfur are the solid. Liquid is the bromine, and gases oxygen and nitrogen. Those are the non-metals. Those are the physical state of the non-metal. Next one, we will see the hardness and strength. Normally, the metals are hard and having the strength, but the exception is sodium and potassium. We can cut by the knife. Normally, metals are hard and having strength, but the exception is potassium. After that, non-metals. Non-metals are soft, but here the exception of non-metal is diamond. Diamond is the hardest substance as we know. After that, luster. What is about luster? In metals are shiny. Metals are very shiny, and non-metals are not that much shiny. Exception to the non-metal, that is the graphite. Graphite is the shiny one. The next physical property is malleability and ductility. I will show you some pictures. This is the picture of tap which are formed by the metal, that is the steel. Second one is lock. See here student, lock. This is the metal. You have see this one is a chalk. This is non-metal. This is non-metal like structure, and this is the lock. What about malleability and ductility? Malleability are there. Metals like copper, aluminium. After beating, they will form the sheets. After beating graphite or coal, they'll break. If we beat this chalk, it will break and forms the dust. That's why this not having malleability property. so that non-metals are not malleable and metals are malleable. The property that which the formation of sheets by beating it, that is the malleability. What about the ductility? As you all know, the wires of coal and graphite. No, students. Why? Because the metals have the property of ductility. They are formed in the thin wire by beating it, like silver wire, aluminium wire. You saw it, right, students? But what about coal and graphite? Those are not ductile. Those are not having the property ductility. So here, student, non-metals are non-ductile and metals are having the property of the ductility. After that, we will see the conductivity. The property conductivity of metals and non-metals. Metals are the good conductor of electricity and non-metals are bad conductor of electricity. In non-metal, graphite is the exception. Graphite is also the good conductor of the electricity. Have you all seen the utensils which are used in cooking? Those are mainly made up of metal. Why this is so? And the handle of that utensils are made up of non-metals. Why this is so? Why? Because the metals are good conductor of electricity. They can conduct the heat from fire to the food for the cooking. And if the handles are by metals, it will hard to hold because they will be hot. They will be hot and that is very bad to hold. That's why the handles of utensils are made up of non-metals like plastics and woods. So generally the metals are good conductor of electricity and the non-metals are bad conductor of electricity. And here the graphite is the exception. This is also the good conductor of electricity. You all see the wires of aluminium, copper. Those are the good conductor of electricity. Gold also can use as the conduction of electricity, but it is too much expensive. After that, we will study the another property, that is the sonorous. That is the sonorous. Sonorous. What is meant by sonorous? If you beat something, it will form some sound effect. By beating the metals, it will give some sound. But by beating the non-metals like graphite or coal, it won't give any sound. That is the property. Means metals are sonorous, having the property of sonorous. After that, we will go to the next property, that is melting point and boiling point of metals and non-metals. Generally, the metals having high melting point and high boiling point. Here the exception are sodium and phosphorus. Those are having the low melting point and boiling point. What about the non-metals? Non-metals having low melting point and low boiling point. These non-metals also have the exception. One is graphite and second one is diamond. Both graphite and diamond having the large melting point and boiling point. After this all physical properties, we will see the chemical properties of metals and non-metals here. Chemical properties. Chemical properties. First of all, we will see the reaction with oxygen. Reaction with oxygen. First we will see the reaction with oxygen. When the metals react with the oxygen, they will form the basic oxides. Basic oxide. Basic oxide. Take the example sodium. Sodium plus oxygen. They will give the sodium, sodium oxide, sodium oxide. That is the basic in nature, basic oxide. After that, reaction of oxygen with the non-metals like sulfur. Second one, sulfur plus oxygen, that is the sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxide. And those oxides are acidic oxide. Acidic oxide. When the metals are combined with the oxygen, they form the basic oxides, and when the oxygen is combined with the non-metal, this is the metal and this is the non-metal. Non-metal combined with the oxygen, then this form sulfur dioxide, that is the acidic oxide. So after that, reaction with water. Reaction with water. The reaction with the water, metal reacts with the water, but non-metals are not react with the water. Some non-metals are there like phosphorus, they catch fire so that they store in the water. So the reaction of metals like sodium with water, it can form sodium hydroxide and giving so much heat. After the reaction of sodium with the HO2, this will give the sodium hydroxide with giving heat plus heat. When the metals are reacted with the water, they will form hydroxides, oxides, and hydrocarbons. Metals very vigorously reacted with the water and form oxides, hydroxides and hydrocarbons. The example is this: the sodium reacted with water and formation of sodium hydroxide is there with the heat. After that, we will see the reaction with acids. Reaction with acids. After reaction of metal with acid, it will form salt. Here. After the reaction of metal and acid, it will form the salt. It will form salt and hydrogen plus hydrogen. Example of that, metal Na plus acid HCl, it will form NaCl plus hydrogen liberation. This is the salt, this is the metal, this is the acid. By reaction in this metal and acid, by the forming of salt and hydrogen, liberation is there. Non-metals are not reacted with the any acid. After that, the reaction of the non-metals with the bases. Reaction with the bases. Reaction with the bases. Only some metal elements are showing the reaction with the bases and with the hydrogen liberation. So students, here is all about today's video. In this video, what we saw, the properties of metals and non-metals. Properties of metals and non-metals like ductility, malleability, luster, boiling point, melting point. After, chemical properties like reaction with oxygen, reaction with water, reaction with acids. I hope students you understand this topic very well and this topic is useful for your studies. I hope. After that, I want to give you some homework for your for this video. So see here student, 3 questions are there for your homework. One is state physical properties of metals and non-metals. State chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Third one is what is meant by ductility and malleability. So this is over for this video. Thanks for watching.